So this is my prototype of SSN Attack Leader. It's a game loosely based on the Warfighter series by DVG. This prototype is hopefully going to be submitted to Dan for publishing by DVG. I'm going to record a video of an encounter that I have with a couple of fast attack ships and a couple of submarines. So I have a mission where I have to attack a carrier task force, but it's at the end at the last location here. I'm currently in the middle, and based on my speed and values, I rolled to determine if there was any activity in this particular location, and I rolled a 7, which means that there was some low activity. So I flipped over the encounter card, and you can see this is a POC ship encounter. So there was a low 2 subs and 2 POC ships that are part of the encounter. I did roll, because we are in a coastal location, there's no thermal layer. So I placed my 2 POC ships. I drew 2 random submarines, which ended up being a Kilo and a Victor. You can see here that the Victor has a star on it, which means that I get an experience point if I destroy it, and also if I don't destroy it, that means that I lose one time on my mission timer, which means I have less time to complete my mission. And also you can see that this one attacks with 2 torpedoes. This has a defense of -2, and then I have my 2 POC ships, which really aren't a threat. But one of the variants that I'm working on is, instead of having my SSN, instead I have a cruiser, the Ticonderoga. So for this variant, surface ship, obviously, I have a crew, I have some skills and tactics. Tactics are one-time use that I could use on the mission. Skills are permanent. My Ticonderoga has a series of sensors that I can use to detect submarines and ships. My surface radar for ships. I could do active sonar, or my passive bow ray or towed array. A couple of torpedo decoys. Key values here are noise, torpedo defense, and missile defense. So usually, the higher the number, the better. Like Warfighter, there are 2 rolls, a D10 and a D6. The D6 represents, I guess, cover, which is what you use it for in Warfighter. But so my noise value of 2 means that when the enemy ships are trying to attack me, they roll a die. They need a 2 or higher to overcome my noise value, and then whatever their sensor values are. So that's, if you look at the Los Angeles class improved ship, it has a noise of 4, which is a lot better. So it's the submarines are a lot stealthier than surface ships, obviously. My torpedo defense is 2, which means not very good, but I have the Aegis radar, so I have a very good missile defense capability. So any missiles launched at me from helicopters or other surface ships have a pretty good chance of withstanding that. I also have a slew of weapons. The Ticonderoga has a VLS launcher, which I can launch 2 different things at a time, either a surface-to-air missile or an ASROC torpedo, which I can toss out in front of me. For example, toss out and attack the Victor from where I'm at. Also have a torpedo canister that I can launch from the ship. I have 2 harpoon canisters where I can launch up to 8 harpoons, and then I have my gun, which I can use to fire out to a range of 2 at surface ships. So, for example, the POCs are in range of my gun. And then my Seahawk helicopter. It can perform submarine detection, so it has a sonar dipping array. It has a MAD, magnetic anomaly detection, which means I can detect ships. I could fly across and attempt to detect ships at various ranges. This is a single range. And then I can drop sonobuoys, which basically stay at that range and every turn attempts to detect enemy subs. And then I have two different types of weapons. I can either drop torpedoes from the helicopter on detected subs, or I can launch a missile at a ship, at detected ship. So I have a couple of different ordnance options there. All right, so we're going to start off. My battle turns are at 5. So first thing we're going to do is draw some action cards. Some, again, similar to Warfighter. And I get 4. So, helicopter ship attack. That could come in useful. Surface to air missile attack. Right now I don't have any carriers which are going to launch helicopters, but there are events where bombers can come in and attack, which I don't have this time. Some cases, some submarines have require 2 hits. So if I get 1 hit, I can add an additional hit. And this one is, you know, if there are surface ships that do have radar and weapons, then I could reduce my noise value of the helicopter, which isn't an issue here since I just have the 2 POCs. But this one might come in handy. So I'm going to try to detect the 4 ships, or the 4 enemy vessels. I'm going to use my towed array. So it's a 5/8. So I have to overcome the noise value on the cover roll and get a 5 to 8 on my sensor roll. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, these are surface ships, so I'm going to use my surface radar, 367. So I rolled a 3/3, which 3 does overcome the noise, and 3 is enough for my surface detect. So it's a detect 0 since it's between 3 and 6. So, but it's detected, means I can attack it. And I roll 6/1 here, which means I do not detect this POC. Now I'm going to use my towed array. Oops. Towed array to attempt the kilo 4/2. So the kilos, they have a 5 noise, are really hard to detect. The Victor's a little bit easier to detect. And 7/1, so I did not detect either submarines. So I have a couple of options now. I have to decide what actions I want to take. I haven't detected the subs, but I happen to have a helicopter that can fly out there and do that. So I am going to load my helicopter with some 2 torpedoes. I can only carry 2 weapon types, so I'm going to carry the 2 torpedoes here. I have 3 actions. So I'm going to use 1 action to take off, 1 action to move. Which one do I want to look for? I guess let's go here. And then I'm going to do a sonar dip check, so 4/7. So let's see if we can detect it. 10/2. So I got enough on my sensor, but I did not detect it because I didn't meet the noise value. So my 3 actions are done there. My helicopter's up in the air though. Hopefully next turn we'll be able to do that. So right now I can only attack one of the enemy vessels. So I'm going to attack the POC. So I have a couple different options. I can do a torpedo attack, a harpoon attack, or a gun attack. So let's do a torpedo attack. Now let's do a torpedo and a gun attack. Let's make it, we'll see what we could do here. And I can't use any of my cards for that. So for the torpedo attack, that has a torpedo defense of 2, and my gun, which is basically a missile. I'll have a missile defensive too, so I have to get roll 7 or higher here. So let's try my torpedo attack. 2-5. So I met the torpedo defense, but not the other one. I need an 8 or higher here. Again, 2 misses. So that was 2 actions. Okay, I'm not going to really do anything else. I don't have anything else to attack. So that's the end of my turn. Okay, so now it's the enemy's turn. So basically the first thing is we want to see where they're going to move. You can see from our encounter card that it's a +4 to enemy movements. So we come to our chart and we roll a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So surface ships, range -1, and they're going to be pinging actively, and same with the SSK, the diesel, and the nuclear subs. So we're going to pull these in 2, pull this in 1, pull this in 1. All of them are pinging, which basically means that they are actively transmitting. I don't have a, let's just do this. They're actively attempting to detect us with their sonar. So usually the range on that's a lot lower. So these are range 0. It's currently at range 1. Range 2, so they can't detect us, and range 1. I'm sorry, the red numbers are the active, so range 1, so they're out of range, so they can't detect us. But they do add noise to their submarines, so that's good. So it's going to make it easier to detect them on the next turn. Okay, so that's the end of the first battle turn. Okay, it's the second turn. So good news is everybody's pinging, so it should be easier to detect. I did draw my 4 action cards. So I do have a ship attack here. We're going to add to ship attack, but since I'm loaded with torpedoes, means I didn't. I can't attack a ship this turn. All right, so let's see. Here's my dice. So again, for the ships, I'm going to use my surface radar 367. So 8, 367. So 8, which means that I've gone up 3 levels here. So now we're at detect. The maximum, detect 3. So we're at detect level 3 here. So I get +3 on my attacks. And you could see here that it's going to be a whole lot easier to hit. Missile defense and so 6-6. That went up. That's a 2 level. So that's detect +1. So this one would be easier to hit with a torpedo. Let's see what we could do here. Now we're using our towed array, which is at 5-8. Okay, that's a miss. Jeez, and that's a miss. Okay, so we still haven't detected our submarines, but I do have a bead on the pox. All right, so let me reset my action counters here. So I do have a couple of skills. One is a gun attack, and I also have a MD2 on my harpoon attack. So I do have a couple of I do have some harpoons. They're limited. I can't refill them. I only have 8. Just because I only have a couple of canisters, but I going to fire a couple of harpoons at the pucks, just try to get them out of the way. Let's see what we do here. So I need a, basically, I'm going to hit the missile defense. They're both, that one's at 2. So let's do this. 9-5. So that one is a hit. So that one's destroyed. And let's see, I need at least a missile defense of 2 and a 7-10. So that one's destroyed. Okay, so that was good. I got rid of my the two surface ships. So now I can focus on the 2 subs. Neither one are detected, so I can't attack them yet, but I do have a helicopter in the air. Let's see if we can detect the Victor. So I'll slide over 1. So because I moved, that takes 1 action. And then I'm going to do a sonar dip, and that will take another action, and that sonar is 4-7. So right now they're at noise 1, so I just need to be able to roll a 4 or higher. Of course not. We're a little desperate here. Let's drop a Sonoboy, and that will detect on a 7-10. Of course not. Okay, so neither one's detected. Sonoboy's going to stay. All right, so that is the end of my turn. All right, so now we're going to see how they move. So I roll a 10, plus 4s, 10 plus. So again, range -1, range -2. So the 1, 2. They're both pinging, which is going to be a problem because range 1, 3, range 1, 2. So they're both in range of my ship. So let's see. They do a 6-10. Oh, that's definitely a detection. And a 1-3. So that one is not a detection. So unlike, oops, hold on. Let's do this. Unlike the surface ships, once a surface ship is detected, our unit, whether it's a ship or sub, all of them are detected, but in this case, they're not. Each of the subsets are detected individually. So there is a detection. They're to detect 0 noise. So my noise level is -1 for my Ticonderoga. So it's going to attack. So let me see, submarine, torpedo. It's going to fire a torpedo, and hold on, oh, there it is. Torpedo. So fired a torpedo, which means it has a -1 noise. So it's down to it's two noise. So it is did fire a torpedo at us. Hits on a 5-9. I do have 2 decoys, which decoy on a 6 or higher, which I forgot to put on the counter. So let's see if one of our decoys works. 6, nice. So that torpedo hit our decoy, and now that's gone. So I have 1 decoy left. So lucked out there. So that is the end of the second battle turn of the 4. So we're going down to 3. Okay, now it's our turn again. Neither sub's been detected, but I'm hoping that we're going to be able to detect it this turn. It's kind of important. I did draw 4 more cards. So I can possibly use this one that requires and has a stealth of 3, which means I have to use 3 cards to launch that, or I also have an advantage to an ASRock attack. They are at range 1, so that's still within ASRock. ASRock range is a 1 or higher. So let us see about detecting. So both of these are using our towed array at 5/8. 1, 3, of course, I did not detect that. And a 1, 6. Boy, this is crappy rolls. So I still haven't detected them. So I have a couple of options. I can attack. They're really close. The ships are gone. So basically I am going to let's retreat. Let's retreat two locations. So we're going to slide them back to range 3, and that gives us a couple of advantages. One is they're out of active sonar range again, unless of course they move up, but they are in range of my sonobuoy, and I have my helicopter. So let's see if our sonobuoy can detect them. 710. Oh, finally. Jeez. So it did get a detection with a 9. So the kilo is finally detected. About time. And let's see if sonobuoy can detect the other one. 5/5. So it did not detect the Victor. All right, so I can. I still have 2 actions on my Ticonderoga now. I only used 2 of them to move, so I still have my ASRock. So let us see if we can take care of the kilo. I do have a card here. It says add 2 to an ASRock attack. I do happen to have an XP from a previous encounter. So I am going to use that experience point to upload this to a +4. And let's use this card as my 1. So that only counts as, so it's only going to use that for the first one here. So it's +4. Of course. So that's a miss. Let's roll the other one, 7/2. So that one actually hit. So torpedo defensive 2, got that. 6 or higher. Only need 1 kill for that, so our kilo is gone. Thank God. That was the one that had us detected. So let's put this out. All right. So all of my actions for my Ticonderoga are done. I still have 3 actions with my helicopter. Sonobuoy doesn't count as an action. Once that's dropped, that's active. So let's do a sonar dip. So I need a 4/7. Noise is not an issue. Just need a 4 or higher. And 2/1. So that failed. So I guess we're done. That is the end of my turn 3. Okay, let's get rid of this marker here. Now it is enemy. We rolled a 5 + 4, so we're at 9. So the SSN moves in 1 and is pinging again. Where is my ping counter? Ah, there it is. So instead of, so because we're pinging, we're using the red numbers, not the black numbers, which are the passive array numbers. So range 1, we're at range 2. So it isn't going to detect us. So that is the end of turn 3. So I have 2 more turns left to take out that victor, which is being difficult. Okay, started my turn. Oh, that's a problem. So I mentioned earlier that a bomber could attack, and guess what? We're getting attacked. So the good news is I do have a SAM missile that I can fire. It's going to take one of my actions, but I need a 5 or higher. I guess there's no missile defense roll. I rolled a 6. Nice. All right, so took care of that event. So the SAM missile took out our bomber, enemy bomber. So I don't need to see if that is going to affect anything. I do have 3 more cards though, which are kind of interesting. I don't have any enemy ships, so that one's, I don't need that. I do have a focus detect, which requires 3 cards. And I have an ASRock attack, which boosts my attack for that. However, I think if I don't detect it, ASRock is not going to help. So I'm going to use my focus detect, so I get +3 detection and -2 noise. All others have a -1 detection. Guess what? I only got 1 left. So +3, so I'm using my towed array, so I need a 2 or higher. Wow. That was crazy. All right, so I didn't detect it with my towed array. But we're not done yet. So I still have a helicopter. So I use 1 action here. And I use 1 action to move it. Now let's do our sonar dip. So 4-7. All right. That is actually good because I only need, the noise value is 1, 4-7, so I detected it. Nice. That's about time. I think it's been a pain in my butt. Okay. So I used an action to move my helicopter, I used an action to detect. I still have 1 more action left on my helicopter. And I'm going to drop my torp on it. So I need a 7 or higher and a torpedo defense of 4 or higher. Just missed. So that didn't work. However, it is detected. So now I have some ASRocks that I'm going to use. I'm going to, geez, getting tired of this. I'm going to toss, I have 3 actions. I'm going to toss 3 ASRocks at it. And hope that one of them hits. So I need a 6 or higher and a torpedo defense of 4. Oh, look at that. So it didn't do 2 damages. I only got an 8, but it did hit it once. Which is good because hit on the first one, and that reduces the torpedo defense to 3 for my other 2. So 6 or higher, now I need a 3 or higher. Oh, that was dismal. 9-2, there we go. So No, I missed the torpedo defense still. I needed a 3 or higher there. So all 3 are misses, but I did damage it, which is good. So let's take the ping counter off, and now it is the victor's turn. All right, so let's roll for movement. So 10, range 2, ping. So that is not good either, is it? So we're pinging again. But now it is in range. Where is my ping? There we go. But now it is in range. So 2 or higher, and my noise level is 2. And oh, so it didn't detect. It didn't meet my noise value to detect it. So didn't detect us, so it's not attacking. So that is the end of turn 4. So we're now down to our last battle turn. Okay, let us see. So our last turn, it's a range 0, which means it has a -2 noise, which is already in the negative. So just need to be able to detect it with my total array 5/8. And I did detect it, 5/8, and that's an 8, so it goes up 2 levels. So instead of being detect 0, it is now detect 2, which means I get a +2 on my torpedo attacks. I still have 1 torpedo here. So let us come over here. So it's 1 action, and that let us drop that last. Well, let's see if we can get it up to the detect level. 1 more detection level. So I needed a 4/7. So I rolled a 5/6. So this detect 2 becomes a detect 3. Nice. And I still have 1 more torpedo in my helicopter. So now the torpedo defense is, oh nice, it's 1. So I just need a 7 or higher. I still have some torpedoes on a ship, and I do have a torpedo attack card from the ship that I could use. So let us roll. Oh, miss. Okay. All right, this victor's really, really, really close. So I can either push it out beyond the range and end it, but then I still lose a turn on my mission track. Or I could just bombard it with torps. Just toss 3 at it. I'll need 1 hit. We are going to use this. So the first torpedo is going to have a +1. I don't have any more experience points. The missile defense is 1, so don't need to worry about that. 9/6. Okay, hit on the first one. Nice. And that sinks our last victor, which does give us another experience point for the next battle. All right, so that was that encounter. That was pretty rough. Took everything we had to get those 4 enemy ships and subs destroyed. We used a lot of resources, unfortunately. I do need some for the last 2 locations. Hopefully I'll have enough for the task force at the end. But that is that's an encounter for the new SSN Leader prototype for DVG, again using the Ticonderoga ship variant. Thank you very much.